Today we're watching a presentation that I recorded of Tamir Poleg, the CEO of Real Broker at the Real Summit, one of two annual events that Real Broker holds every year. And in this presentation, Tamir's going to be talking about how important Canada is to Real Broker, go over a lot of the stats and numbers for Canada and how they compare to our US agents, and talk about the company of Real Broker overall as a whole. Really interesting presentation. Let's hop in.
This event is primarily for our Canadian agents. I know we have a lot of US agents in the crowd, so thank you for making the trip. And I have so many questions to our Canadian friends. I've been here in Banff since Friday, and it's been snowing every day since. And I'm asking why. You know, people are walking around in bikinis in New York right now. What's going on? But more seriously, every now and then we hear agents asking us whether, Canada is a priority, and whether some people think that Canada is kind of a stepchild of the US. And we have our entire management team here today just to show you that we care, that we love, that we appreciate you. So I wanted to thank you, and I wanted to give you a little bit of history. And for those of you who do not believe words, I wanted to back it up with some numbers for you to understand that the numbers speak for themselves as well, and for you to be proud of everything that we've achieved here in the past 2.5 years since we launched. So, like every other opportunity in life, it starts with people. So it started with somebody who reached out to us and said, hey, I'm an agent in Calgary, a great market, and I think that Rio should come here. And that was about 3 years ago. We had no intention of opening up Canada. We were focused on the US, but he was persistent. And at some point, we just gave up. I mean, the guy can talk a lot. It might be easier to open up Canada than continuing to listen to the guy. Some of you know who I'm talking about. But I'm happy we listened to him.
And so that's Brad McCallum that he's talking about. So Brad's actually been a friend of mine since about 2019. I'm under him. I joined under him, so he's my sponsor into the company. And he was the very first agent in Canada, agent number one. And it took them like 6-7 months to get opened up in Canada. So I remember I joined right after he joined, and I joined underneath of him, but he had to sign an LOI. So even though I joined underneath of him, I somehow joined 6 months before his official date, just because it took forever to get opened up in Canada. And Brad has something like 5,000 agents underneath of him now at Real Broker. So like a quarter of Real Broker is underneath of him. Most of Canada is probably underneath of him as well. Really nice guy, incredibly smart. I really like him. I've got a few interviews with him on this channel as well. But he was agent number one in Canada in, I believe, 2021.
So we launched in November of 2021. And at the moment, we have more than 1,600 agents here in Canada. Woo! In our second year of operation here, we closed $4.5 billion worth of homes, north of 11,000 transactions. Second year of operation. I don't know any other company. And Canada has been consistently on the top 3 growth markets for real. Either Alberta most of the time, Ontario for some of the time, but it's so consistent. We're growing like crazy. And this is thanks to you. You're making it happen. So I wanted to share some numbers. And Real was never about agent count. I mean, as a company, we focused on helping people succeed in real estate, helping people with their careers. And obviously, agent count is great because it means that our community is growing, our network is growing. And the larger the network is, the more valuable it becomes. So agent count does matter because it means that our community is more valuable. And agent count is growing much faster than the US. So I'm giving you some points to brag about when you're talking to US agents. So our Canadian agent growth last quarter was 77% versus 66% in the US, so much faster, about 20% faster than the US, which is great. Still, Canada accounts for about 10% of the entire agent network of Real. Having said that, the production is a little bit different. You should be probably proud of that. So talking about transactions, because at the end of the day, transaction is what counts. So on a transaction basis, our Canadian transaction volume or count has grown north of 100% in the last quarter compared to about 70% in the US. So the growth here, the growth is just staggering. And it's so great to see. Still, about 17%, 10% of the agents at Real are from Canada. About 17% of the transactions closed in the company are generated in Canada. So a big difference in productivity, and you should be proud of that. And that's probably the most meaningful piece in my presentation. The average Canadian agent closes close to 10 deals a year. And we're averaging the non-productive agents, the agents who just joined a month ago and did not have a chance to close yet. And that's almost double the production of our US agent population.
Wow, so that's really fascinating. The average agent in Canada is closing 10 transactions a year. And you know, the average sales price in Canada is far higher than it is in the States. In some cities, they've actually seen just like runaway sales prices. Some cities, the average home sales price is close to $1 million. So if they're on average closing 10 transactions a year, that's actually really fantastic. And one of the things that you want to look at when you're joining a brokerage is that you want to be at a brokerage where the agents are actually closing transactions. You want to be with producing agents. So that's fantastic that the average agent in Canada is closing 10 deals a year. I love hearing that. And it's pretty wild. That's almost double what we're doing here in the States.
This is massive. About 17 to 18% of the agents in Canada reach their cap versus about 10% in the US, so almost double. And this is to tell you that while Canada might be perceived as a small portion of our business, within just 2 years, it has grown to be 20% of our overall business. I cannot wait to see where it is. So, thank you very much. And you should not feel like we have focus on the US. We focus on the US and Canada. And we actually focus sometimes even more on Canada. The problem is, everything is more complicated here. Everything takes longer, everything is more expensive. So we do experience some growing pains. Hopefully most of them are behind us. But thank you for sticking with us, and thank you for your patience. And thank you for your contribution.
So that's really fascinating to me that we are growing faster in Canada than we are in the US. The Canadian agents are closing about twice as much production as the US agents, and that they account for about 20% of the revenue coming into Real Broker, and it's only growing as well. And what's really fascinating is that Canada has far less real estate agents as a whole as the US does. So Canada is definitely a very big part of Real Broker's overall strategy moving forward. And now that we're opened up in all the main provinces, like we're not in all the provinces yet, but that's because a lot of them are pretty rural. But now that we're in all the main provinces, that growing pain is behind us, and now we can really just focus on growth. So if you're interested in learning more about Real Broker and you're looking for a sponsor or a co-sponsor into the company, I'd be more happy to hop on a one-on-one video call with you, talk to you about your business, talk to you about Real, see if it'd be a good fit or not. I have a link down in the description below where you can schedule a one-on-one video call with myself. And if you'd like to see more presentations from Real Broker events, you can check out this playlist right here. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you.